And welcome back to another episode of Fantasy Take TV with me, JD. Of course, joining me as always is George and Eno. We'll get to them shortly, but going through the agenda for today, lots to cover. Obviously, buys, very hot topic. Approaching quickly, we need to make sure our structures are ready to go. Steel replacements, the big injury from the week. A lot of people affected by one of the top premiums, the name going down. Of course, we're looking at players to get, especially with DPP coming up. We're going to discuss a few of the individual players in each line that look good or bad for a few reasons, and we'll go through some Q&A as well. But before we jump into it, let's go around the grounds. George, give me your rank, your trades, and then I want the good, the bad, and the ugly from the weekend just gone.
All right, let's do one at a time here. We'll go with our trades. I guess this is good, bad, and ugly here, but Dacos to Dawson, happy with that. We take that.
That's good.
Start on a positive note.
Yep.
We paid $670 for Max Gawn.
That's bad.
Got Jack Hayes all the way up to Gawn. Sold my limb, my leg, sold everything. Felt like I sold my soul because I could have just ridden the praise train, but nope. So yeah, his break even's 220. Time to trade him out again. Not really. And this one was stupid. So we did the trades video last week. JD jumped off for his bubble bath, and then
did you guys just hang shit on me after I left?
Possibly.
Not
you
really.
have to go back and check. No, not really. I did Pat Lip. Why did I do that to young Rioli, who scored they probably made almost the same amount of money. Maybe 20k difference. So yeah, picked the wrong rookie. It was Big Hamilton that we should have gone for. So yeah, I just had to get rid of a forward, got rid of the wrong one. Now I'm stuck with Cogs at the moment. So
You say one question at a time, but you did the good, the bad, and the ugly in your trades as well. You covered off both at once.
You're smart.
I'll roll with that. And yeah, ranked 10k. Somehow ranked more than you guys. I'll take it. But yeah, feel like I was trading my way out of the game, trading my way back in, and then back out again this week. So yeah, hopefully we go back to doing better trades next week. So we'll see. So Eno, how's your week?
I went down, mate. 21-33. I don't know how many times I've been on the bottom of us three scores, but I feel like it's the most for sure. So I did Jared Berry. He had to go to Darcy Cameron. Basically, they were the same price, so that was a straight swap. So I guess you could call that a good. But then I got rid of Ward and Connor McDonald. So I would have liked to hold them because they got the last buy, of course. So they would have been handy, but just wanted their money. And then the ugly is I got Carroll and Rioli. So I got both of the bad ones. Didn't get Hamilton. So that's a big L. And then I guess I got to mention the ugly, although I don't want to, and that's Sean Darcy's 50 against bloody Wits. So it's a bad. I don't want to call it ugly because I like the man, but geez, that was bad. So yeah, not a good week, JD. Yeah, and Wits is apparently the best ruck in the comp. So
yeah, well, I mean, come on, that was obvious, guys, right? We all predicted that was going to happen. So 21.71 for me. I think I slid a few places back down to about 16k. So look, I think we're still in striking range, and a few things go our way. But we've probably had enough weeks in a row now. We're at a point where it's pretty easy to predict what players are going to do from here on out. What they've produced over the first 9 rounds is probably what you're going to get at the end of the year. And our teams are just underperforming. But in terms of trades for me, Hinge, Ward, and Roses out for Zorko, Hamilton himself, and Jack Carroll, who I had to field, unfortunately. So the good for me was I was away for all weekend with the wife celebrating her birthday. That was great. The bad was I didn't get to watch much football, and the ugly was my team, especially the GWS and Carlton players. What a horrific game for me. I think I tweeted I went into Sunday with a 23.50 projected, which would have been a good score for the week, and ended up with a middling 21.71, which is no bueno. All right, let's get into the agenda, though. Lots to cover. And I think the last couple of weeks we've been pushing 2 hours, which I don't know, some people might like, but we should probably try and get a little bit punchier, which also probably means I shouldn't host. So, buys, let's get into it. George, kick us off. Heading into the buy round, what should people be thinking about? What are the hot topics this week?
Well, I want Rory led. He kills my buys. What do I do? Well, okay, the middle buy for me, I guess you got to figure out what buys giving you trouble and work around that. So the middle buy has given me trouble. I've been saying for a few weeks now, we have literally no rookies for the last buy to flip, like none, except for the GOAT Connor McDonald, who you guys want to get rid of. I think I'm going to take his 45s in the buys and run and get those extra scores. So, yeah, it's hard to plan for. I got to pick between Brayshaw suits my buy and Laird, who is like uber premium, I think. So, especially Crows have got a bit of a new look midfield. So, yeah, trying to work around that. Like, I think Doherty, I'm holding off. Like, you want to plan. I think you want to plan for an upgrade for a play in the first buy. So for me, Doherty will be in the first buy, or after the first buy, I'll grab Doherty. Plan was probably Jack Steele as well for some people. That's gone out the window. So I think hold someone you can upgrade to. Maybe it's like Sinclair down back or something, whoever you want. But yeah, I think a lot of the players we want are like middle buy, like Dogs players and whatnot.
Sure.
So yeah, so it's very difficult to navigate. So yeah, I think what's interesting, I think, is like next week I might do one downgrade, and then the week after, like round 12, I'll do nothing. That's what I'm planning anyway. And then round 13, we'll do some trades. So yeah, it's kind of a bit of a holding period now. So see how we go. How are you looking for the buys, Enno?
Yeah, I think it's a middle buy as well, mate. Especially since I got Stewart already. I got Dawson, who you just got in defence. Tack on, obviously, Tuke McRae, which we all have, and then all those bloody forwards from the Bulldogs in Sydney, which looks like, we'll talk in a minute, there might be more coming. So, yeah, the middle buy is the one I'm struggling for the most. And then we've got Buku and Rory Thompson, who I think both have that buy as well. So it's like, I'm struggling for players here. I've clicked the round 13, and my whole team just goes blank. Like I'm looking at it going, oh crap, I'm screwed. So like Rory, he can't come in for me. I don't know. It's just too tough. Like I think I have to get Brayshaw or Petraka, but I really want Laird or Mills even. Like it's just really hard to see me going against it. But yeah, you just got to look at what your worst buy is, and I think for us too, that's definitely in the middle. I'm not sure about JD, but the first is fine, and then the last is going to be fine because you can always trade around it. So the way it's fallen this year is just going to kill us, I think. So need the rookies to play through. I don't know. We just need to pray, but yeah, definitely don't trade anyone that's going to make your worst buy even worse, because you got to get to 18 playing. Like you don't. If you got less than 18, you're just doing yourself out of points. So, yeah. How are you looking, JD? What's your worst? Is it the middle as well?
No. So I think the first buy looks the worst for me at the moment because I've got all the underperforming GWS and Carlton players, as I kind of mentioned, who have that first buy, which is like both good and bad because I think like Whitfield, Cornelio, they can both be traded out, and then eventually like Durden as well is going to be a decent one, and even Nick Martin looks like he may be starting to hit a wall. So I've got a few trader options here which I can kind of work around. It's just hard because obviously anyone that you trade to is then going to cop a buy anyway, so you're just shifting the problem around. But maybe I do look to move them to someone with the last buy, and that can kind of help my team out. So just like one question here. So round 12, which is the first buy, is 2 weeks away. You shouldn't be trading in anyone that's playing in round 12 now, right? Apart from maybe a really good rookie.
Yeah. I think you can trade to players on their buy, like the same one. So if you want to go like a Nick Martin to Doherty, I think you can do that.
As long as the buy is looking okay for you. But I think as a rule at the moment, you want to kind of make sure that you've already got at least 18 playing in each buy as of right now, and then be trading to keep that or improve it and probably not getting worse. I think if you're going into like the first buy and you've only got 16 playing and you have to do 2 trades that week just to get to 18, not a good spot to be in. So that's probably like the broad rule I'd give. I guess like the only other thing, which we've mentioned a couple of times in different ways, is just look at the rookies that you've got that are fattening up and when you can trade them out. So the middle buy is probably a little bit better for me than the first buy, but not by much. But I've got McCartan and De Koning sitting on bench still that are mooing away nicely, but they'll be peaking out in price in the next few weeks. Those seem like good ones I could hold until they buy, flip both of them, kind of solve that problem pretty well. So yeah, I think you're right. Like if you could hold a McDonald or someone like that, that makes sense because he's got great job security. Even though it's poor scores, you can then flip him at the end. So yeah, look for opportunities like that where you can. I think it might be a little bit harder for Dacos, who ideally we'd all hold, but he's going to start leaking cash now, so probably one to move on. But yeah, only other considerations for the buy there. All right.
One quick thing is the rucks with the buys. Like,
yes,
I don't know how you're looking at that, but obviously Bruce has that first one. I think I'm going to go to Gawn in that. I'm just looking at it. Like, of course, Gawn will have the buy in round 14, but I'm pretty sweet for that. I'll probably have both rucks out. Well, I will, Darcy and Gawn doing that strategy, but I think I'll be pretty sweet across the ground to cover that. So you obviously get Gawn score around the first buy, and then he helps in the second buy, which is my worst one. But
yeah,
obviously Bruce will be back. So I think I might do that, but I don't know. It's all different for everyone.
I think that's exactly what I'm going to do because I've got with Witts, Bruce, and Hayes. The way it works is for round 13. No. So for the first buy, Witts plays, but Bruce and Hayes are both
so you could
on their buy. Well. So if I put Gawn in there, then you have Witts and Gawn week 1. Then you have Gawn and Hayes week 2, and then you have Witts and Hayes week 3. Wow. So you get perfect coverage. Yeah. So that's one I'm keeping up. I like flip Bruce around that first buy for Gawn. Assuming Gawn is fit and firing and the knee thing's not a real concern. I'm not sure if there's been much chatter. It's fine. Okay, that feels like a bit of copium.
It is fine.
Eno, I don't know. All I saw was there was strapping, and I didn't get to watch a ton of the game. I was just watching scores. He didn't seem to be scoring like the Gawn of old, especially against a depleted West Coast. Was he playing in the position you'd expect to, or was he, just kind of taking it a bit easy? What was going on in your eyes?
He had a pretty poor first quarter, and then Jackson just rucked for the most of the second half of it. But I'll be honest, I didn't watch much after halftime. Game was boring, and the Premier League started. So you probably should ask George, although we don't want to because he's the biased owner.
No, he's going to tell us that he's fine, and paying 680K was totally worth it.
I can't lie to you. I turned the game off at halftime, but the game was over at quarter time, 40 to 8, and I think how many points did Gawn have, George? Like 8 or something. So
yeah,
doesn't help you scaling the rest of the game when that happens, as we know. So he just didn't really get scored well for the rest of the game. What was he? It was a pretty large part forward, wasn't it, George?
Yeah, they used Jackson more, definitely. I haven't checked the CBAs, but I feel like they used Jackson a lot. Gawn probably took a bit of a backseat.
CBAs were Gawn 68, and then I assume Jackson was 32. Yep.
Yeah. So probably, I still think he's fine. He wasn't getting the hit outs to advantage. I think they just long trip to Perth. Let's go done. Let's go home.
It's too easy for them, really.
The
game was over asking all the time.
So the only other thing, which I don't know if it played out or not, but people are asking if they should captain Gawn. And the reason why I didn't think it was great against West Coast is just because a lot of Gawn's really big games at the moment have come from him marking around the ground, getting those contested marks, whether that be in defense or on the forward line. And while West Coast is in shambles, one of the things they actually do have all right is tall stocks, especially your McGoverns and Barras and all that could nullify that. So it just seemed like that was always going to limit him. And if you had the injury concerns, but anyway,
he went up for like 20. We went up for like 20, 25 marks. I reckon just everything got spoiled.
Yeah,
whatever. Go next. See how we go.
All right. So the big talking point this week for a lot of coaches is obviously Jack Steele has gone down. He got crunched and had the AC joint go in the process, which is a pretty big loss to owners and a big loss to, people like me and you, George, that were looking to trade him in to finish our midfields after the buy at discounted price. I mean, it hurts. Like, I'm going to have to actually pay up for a different shitty midfielder when I could have got cheap Steele. Like, come on. Yeah. Now, does it hurt you slightly more than us? Look, debatable. But why don't we get to the crux of the matter and figure out who you should be replacing Steele with this week? Because a lot of people are going to be weighing up this dilemma exactly. And there's a fair bit of money on him. What's he's currently priced at? $5.90, I think it is.
So it's not terrible.
$5.90, so not terrible. So I think like before we jump into this, consideration one is an opportunity to fix your buys and make sure you're picking up a premium in the right buy round. And I would definitely weigh heavy consideration towards that. But if you do have some freedom, let's talk through some of the options. Top of the list is the one with the highest price and the highest break even is Callum Mills at 669k, 167 break even. Beat up on Essendon on the weekend. Apparently, I don't know. I didn't watch that game. I'm not going to go back and watch the replay either. I don't even know if you can pay me to watch the KO Mini. Thoughts on Callum Mills as the replacement option for Steele? Currently, well, he has Carlton, Richmond, and Melbourne in the coming weeks.
I love him, man. I mean, I owned him last year. Just again brought him in when I probably shouldn't have. At a high, I think it was a fairly high price as well last year. Not 670, but I think it was close to high 500, 600. But he just scores so many ways and so easily. I mean, I don't know what his down games are the weird issue, but when he's on, like it's ridiculous. I think he tunned with 14 touches on the weekend just after half time. It was like tackling machine. Obviously, gets the uncontested stuff, between the arcs, and then I don't know. He doesn't waste many possessions when he's on. So yeah, I love him as an option. If he obviously was, around the same price as the others, he'd be the clear number one in my eyes. But he's not. So you've just got to weigh up. Does it hamper you in the coming couple of weeks for another upgrade, as we usually say? And if it does, then you're saving 100k plus to these other guys. So you just got to look at it. And then, yeah, I mean, the last thing is probably the most boring part, which we'll say for the next 2 or 3 weeks, and it's just look at your buys. He's got that middle buy with all the forwards and that good stuff you ran as well. So, yeah, George, what do you think on Millsy?
I think he's too much money. I think if you can afford him at some point, you get him last. Say you got 6 mid slots, just grab someone with a bit of value at the moment. Laird technically is value the way he's scoring. And yeah, as you said, like Mills, is he going to drop a 70 or is he going to drop a 200? I don't know. He's 3 scores below 85 this year. So, you think you're going to pick him off and then he goes big again. So I think you can go for it if you want. I think I'd save money, have a bit of money ready for upgrades in the buys. And then last, I don't know, maybe after the buy or in the last buy, if you have the money, you just get to Mills because he's 670. Can't go too much higher than this. He could hit 700, but it's like only 30k, and that's needs to go massive again quite a few times to get there. So it's pretty hard to get there. So yeah, if you can get him if you want, I'd probably go for someone else. It's cheaper, and yeah, have more money ready for the buy rounds.
Just quickly, he's going to hover again because of the 167. So with a 130 or something, his break even is going to go back below 100. So
yeah,
he'll probably drop, but then he'll go up again because that's how he's been scoring. But yeah.
Yep. I guess, the only other things on Carl Mills is the main reason we were off him in the preseason was the Achilles. And I think he had a couple of issues early, but we're at the point in the year where if he's completing your team and you've got trades in the bank, you can be a little bit more risk seeking. We've also seen like 9 games in a row when he's kind of seems fit and firing now. It's probably less of a concern. So I probably, wouldn't weight that Achilles injury history as much as we would have previously. But yeah, I said I didn't want Steele at 650. I didn't want Stewart at 600. I didn't want Gawn at 680 or whatever it was. And Mills at 670 is pretty hard to justify for me, even if you've got still got more upgrades to go on the team. So probably one I would pass. Next option is one that we've talked about a little bit is Laird, 634k, 108 break even. And since he's come into the side after that broken hand, which slowed him to start the year, he has been going absolutely insane on a tear. I think he's got a 5-round average of 124 or 125 and the 3-round average of 127 very consistently his last few games. George, you're the person we should be talking to about the Crows midfield. Do you like what you see?
Very much I like. Well, with Laird, sorry, I need to go back and watch Borat again.
I think so he came back in round 3. From round 4 onwards, he's had one game under 120, and that was a 116.
So Laird is Laird. He is a PhD in stat padding. This dude, he loves it. They make jokes like Brody's. Like there's been like Crows on social media stuff where they make jokes about Laird checks the stat sheet I did hear a story once that he was checking his stats after the game, and then he wasn't happy. He went to the champions data office and he was like knocking on the door, and he's like, he was checking up on them, and he was like, "You guys missed a handball," and he was losing. He's like, "Oh no, we can't fix it now." And then like I don't know, he grabbed the intern's rice and like flicked it in his face, and he was just really pissed off and walked out. I made that whole thing up, but the joke is he it's like a running joke that he like checks his stats. So look, he loves stats and he scores. He's good inside. Got a bit of an outside game as well, but it's a contested ball. The tackling, his man doesn't get away from him that easily. I think he's 122 post by last year. I don't see why he can't do the same from here on out. So I think he's top 5 mid, and I would get him if you can. And also, Matt Crouch is like there's 30 useless possessions up for grabs at the Crows now. So like he's out the team. I don't think he'll be back for a while, to be honest. So I would grab him.
All right. So he's also got the middle buy, right? With Mills, and it's also more expensive. Just comparing A and B, who would you rather have?
Laird.
Eno Mills, George Laird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much. Look, I was going to ask the question. Like, it's only 30k difference. If that doesn't affect you, why not go Mills if you like him? Like me,
I think
durability.
I think I'd rather go Laird. Yeah.
Yeah, I know everyone will. I was just about to say he's the most traded in primo currently. So
doesn't surprise me. I think like a lot of last week. It's very close. I'm looking currently at Laird 4,300.
Yeah,
Mills,
it's like
4,200. So yeah, Dusty's
tracks in the middle there too.
Wow. All right. Then we've got a couple of cheaper options here with different buys. Well, they got the last buy, so we've got Brayshaw at 557 with 100 break even, and then Petrarca at 570 80k with a 99 break even. So very similar spots and very heavily discounted compared to the other two. And let's start with you. Do you see either Brayshaw or Petrarca as top 10 or potentially even top 8? And who of these would you be leaning towards if someone was going to trade in a round 14 premium?
I've got to describe it like this with the first two guys we just talked about and these two. The head says Rory Laird and the heart says Callum Mills, and then the head says Petrarca and the heart says Brayshaw. That's what it is, really. Like, it's got to be Petrarca. I'm a non-owner of both. I don't really see how I go Brayshaw over Petrarca. Like, Track's had a couple of down games and he's still averaging more. I mean, obviously Brayshaw's had his, but he's also had a 180. But I got North this week. Like, Freo, the performance in the weekend, really, I don't know. It just didn't fill me with a lot of confidence, but I'm sure they'll bounce back. But yeah, I mean, Brayshaw he had like 6 kicks or something, 7 kicks, and they just, I don't know. Brody was the only one really doing most of the work in there, which says something. But yeah, for me, it's got to be Petrarca. I think you're buying a mid and probably the number one player in the comp by many, in the number one team in the comp. So I think there's just much more safeness and even upside, I guess, with him too. I mean, they still got really good fixture coming up as well, whereas Brayshaw's might be a little bit harder. So I think I've got to say Petrarca there.
George?
I'll take Petrarca. I think a bit more contested possessions, hits the scoreboard a bit more. I don't think there's a whole lot in it. I don't know. I think I trust Petrarca a little bit more. Here's the history. Back half of last year, it was like 120 plus. Just not too sure what to expect from Brayshaw from in here on out. Maybe like 110 to 115. Maybe Petrarca can do like 113 to 120 from here on out, something like that. So yeah, I'll take Cristiano.
It's interesting because if I'd asked this 2 weeks ago, I'm pretty sure I would have got the opposite answer. Even after last week, I'm pretty sure I would have got the other way around. So
yeah,
I think Petrarca's he's a bit older, a bit more pre-seasons.
Yeah, so I mean, I think I would have leaned slightly Petrarca as well, probably for the main reasons that you spoke about. So he's had the strong, back half of last year. So, there's always the hope he can do it again. Brayshaw's been a little bit up and down, and then you do have Fife returning. And now it doesn't look like a Brody or a Mundy or anyone's going to be dropped. So it's going to be more sharing, you would imagine, which I think probably does hurt Brayshaw a little bit. So, yeah, I'd edge towards Petrarca of the two, but I think they're both good options. All right, next topic we're going to move on to is potential DPP. So for those that aren't on Twitter, Fantasy Freako, who is from Champion Data, has been dropping hints. The Herald Sun guys, who I think have been writing a couple of articles due to come out, been dropping some hints as well. It looks like there's potentially some really interesting forward options coming at the next
Interval.
Update. Yeah, interval. So they say it's round 12, but it's actually after round 11. So this would happen, basically the week of the first bye, for the week of the first bye. And the three names that people are talking about are Bailey Smith, so 523k mid, currently 71 break even. Bontempelli, another mid, who would also be eligible for in the forward line, 573k, 97 break even. And then potentially even Max Gawn, given he played, I think, more forward time again on the weekend. So 639k with a massive break even, 221, as George mentioned. Do you think we're going to be getting any or all of these for forward line DPP? And if so, does that make them must-haves?
I think we will get at least one, maybe two. Baz, was it 2 weeks ago? 60% forward time, George. So
yeah, he was already on track, and he had like a 61% forward time game, so he'd be on track. And again, this week he was a bit forward.
Yeah, I think someone worked it out, and they're like
47% forward time. 47% forward time this week. Yeah,
he's going to get it.
I think they're both around 40% on the season, maybe just a little bit more. Someone worked it out. So obviously 2 weeks to go, but
yeah. So they're close, but if they had 2 games where they played purely midfield, they'd lose it. So I guess the interesting thing here is I've got a little bit of flexibility. I could probably trade in a mid-round premium or a last-round premium. So, looking at someone cheap like a Brayshaw, or I could look at someone like a Bailey Smith and take the risk on him, given that he's break-even's low, and then hope that he gets the forward DPP. Is this a risk you'd be recommending people, or is this a little bit too out there? Because the downside is I trade in Bailey Smith. He doesn't get DPP in 2 weeks, and I'm stuck with an underperforming M8. Right? So
you've got to weigh up how underperforming will it be. So he's 111 average right now.
Yep.
He has 4 sub-tons. His floor's quite good because he is getting 30 touches every week, no matter what. It's just his ball use. So
it was good on the weekend, and he goes 140.
Yeah.
They also have Dogs have a nice matchup the next couple of weeks with Gold Coast and West Coast, which I don't know. Yeah.
So
I don't know if that helps or hurts.
It means if you want to risk it, you get him now because with the low break even after a big score, a couple 120s, which you probably expect maybe around that from these matchups, he's almost 600k. So when he gets forward status, he's 600k, and that maybe entices you to get him now at 530. So. Yeah, it's coming more into my calculations, but it is a risk.
What do you think on that? I think he's going to get it. I think there's an article coming out tomorrow in the Herald Sun. So I think he faded out a bit there. So,
sorry.
Oh, good. Yeah, I would grab it. I think he's going to get it. Herald Sun article coming out tomorrow. Maybe they tell us the percentages. I don't know, but he looks like he's going to get it. And in terms of are they must-haves? Well, this is where if you've saved trades, you got to, some people are going to be stuck with Butters, maybe Cogs in the forward line. And Butters, by the way, time and ground has dropped a lot, 70% in the last 3 weeks. So we maybe speak about that later. But yeah, you can grab a Dogs mid in the forward line because basically I think it's hard to see him not getting it apart from McRae, just because we're looking at the team sheets last week and the forward line is 3 mids, Ace Cordy, Norton, and Buku Karmas. It's they don't have any forwards at the moment. So they have Riley West on the bench. So they're going to get it, I'm pretty sure. And then Gawn, I don't know. I think he'll be pretty borderline, and it'll depend on the next 2 weeks because he did play a fair bit forward the knee game last week.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and he was already 29, 30%, something like that beforehand. So he wasn't too far off. But yeah, also worth noting that the player needs to play 6 games, so Buku Karmas is not going to get DPP if anyone's wondering.
Is that the rule for second time round?
Yeah, I think
that's funny.
Tim said it. Yeah,
tweeted it. So
because I'm sure there's been players that got it off just 2 games or something for the first one, which is less.
The second one means it's got to be 6. Yeah, I don't know.
That's more than half.
I know what you mean.
That's so strange. Yeah, it'd be great if we like got clarity for next year on exactly what what the rules were. Not that it matters too much because you get what you get, but like for nerds
Just
like
planning.
us that spend way too much time thinking about it, it'd be nice to be able to plan with that. And I guess like the thing with Gordon is he's a bit of a must-have regardless, right? Like he's either going to be one of the top 2 rucks or probably the top forward. Bit of a must-have either way. It's not like you're going to change your trade plans based on whether he gets DPP or not. Now, I did miss there were 2 that were missing from this list. After watching GWS Carlton, the one game we did watch, Cripps and Tom Green, are they going to get mid-ruck status?
I'm not sure what's going on there, but probably not.
That was like all-time what the hell's going on? And like Cripps' score suffered as a result. And he was actually the one that could ruck of the 2 of them. Well, yeah, anyway.
Yeah. It brought a tear to Luke Beveridge's eye watching that.
Just before we go, those DPPs, they all must-haves if they all get it?
If you got the trades, yeah. I think you got to plan around it. I don't trust Butters from here on out, nor do I trust Cogs.
I would say yes, because they're like Bailey Smith and Bont, like let's say 110 average.
15 to 20 points on these guys.
And then Gawn is going to be what, a 115, one whatever. And like, so Luke Parker's probably one of the better forward options at the moment. He's like a 102. You've got, it's going to be like 4 or 5 dogs here. It's going to be Dunkley, English, Bailey Smith, Bontempelli, Gawn.
George's actually going to have
up
an absolute just
Libba Trelaw.
You can get
Libba or Trelaw. Yeah. Like Gawn looking on the outside, looking in. So honestly, like this is where if you save trades, you may actually end up getting a big advantage because you end up upgrading Luke Parker, Cogs, Butters, DeGoey,
not Parker. Parker's all right. The others.
Oh yeah, probably not Parker. Like you'd hang on, and maybe like Heaney'd be fine as F6.
Heaney,
but almost everyone else we talk about or people have upgraded to, you just flip them for these dogs players. It's crazy. It's so crazy.
Yeah. So I'm thinking Heaney's like F2, F3, and now he's like, I don't think he's going to be top 6 anymore. Yeah.
No, this is beyond wildest that dogs have had that many mids be eligible for forward, but still score like midfielders. This is unheralded.
Because they're all 130, 120 players, and they just drop down to a bit lower because of the team they're in.
I guess this is thinking to the future a little bit, but if you had all of them eligible for the forward line next year, it's almost going to make the year really hard to play because you're going to want to pick just dogs forwards because they'll play mid and they're all going to have the same bye. So it's going to be such a weird year. But anyway, let's see how we go when we get there. We're already planning ahead, aren't we? I know that's a bit rough.
Yeah, we need to.
All right, into the defense. There's a few odd players we should be talking about here. So do we want to talk with the good trading options from last week or the perennial underperformer? Where do you want to start?
Just start with
Whitfield.
Just
So, played like it was Cameron's farewell game, just the 43. Now, for the limited part of the game I did get to watch, I didn't actually cite Whitfield, apart from maybe like one kick mark received out of like a kick in. Was he parked forward for the whole game?
I think so, yeah.
And he was invisible the whole game?
Yep.
And when he touched the ball, did he look okay? He just didn't get any opportunity?
He had a good 2-minute patch in like the second quarter, maybe.
Nice. All right, so 43, obviously a terrible score, but that's in the past. 112 break even, and he plays West Coast this week. Trade or hold?
Hold.
If you can, I mean, you got to hold, I guess, but I don't know, man.
Break even to 112. I think that's nowhere near as bad as Cogs 150 break even or whatever it is. So I think it's just hold.
Yep, I think as much as it sucks, new coach. Let's see where he gets played. Worst team in the league. Even if it's a bad role, he can score at least okay, you'd imagine. And if you don't like what you see after this week, then trade full force to fix your buys. Otherwise, you might be able to hold him. Geez, that's been a pain and a half this year. All right, next. So 2 options that I guess have slightly different buys. So Dawson, 532K with 73 break even, and Zorko, 550K, 92 break even. Both turned up and were both, I guess, pretty popular trade options. By popular, I mean we traded them in, or we already own them. If you were recommending a defender trade in, who would you have, Zorko or Dawson?
Dawson.
This is like pretty biased answer, but Dawson.
Dawson, okay.
You're going to get the biased answers.
And why Dawson over Zorko? Is it just because of the age and the injury history of Zorko? Or is there something else that you like about, I don't know, role or...
Yeah,
less
I mean,
suspension
Zorko's...
risk.
Yeah, Zorko got suspended during the buys last year, but that didn't really matter.
I enjoyed that. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, he scored 170 the next week. I don't know. Yeah, Dawson
I told
just
Baps
better
not to
role.
trade him too.
Oh yeah, probably cost him the win. Zorko, I guess his role isn't still like solid set week to week, but he can score in probably all of them really. But yeah, I just trust Dawson. What he's in his prime, but, doesn't have all the other risks associated with him. So yeah, got to be Dawson for me. I mean, I have different buys, so again, look at that.
Yeah, I think they're both good options depending on your buy structure. I'd probably prefer Dawson. He also had the massive run home at the back end of last year. So a little bit like Petrarca, if he repeats that form, then he probably still presents value. But I mean, we know Zorko went nearly 110 in this role last year. So that also presents a bit of value. I don't think you can go wrong. Probably just go for who suits your buys.
We're saying before, just quickly on Zorko, apparently his leg is fine now. So they were saying on the broadcast that there's like a scar tissue injury that he was playing with, and that's all cleaned up now. They're praising the Brisbane Medicos, and now he's good to go. So that injury risk at the start of the year should not be there anymore.
One that isn't in the list but has been talked about last couple of weeks is Bailey Dale. So 550k, 106 average, went 113. Every time I seem to turn on a Dogs game, despite there being so many mids that can rack up the points, he still finds a way to be getting kicks out of the back line. Is he a decent option?
I think he is just middle buy again. So, if you want a Stewart or something, but of course Stewart's very expensive, but I think Bay's an awesome option. He's the alpha down there now. Got all the kick-ins. Well, not all, but most. And most of the ball down there. So, yeah.
Yep. And then I'd say just quickly, the other options that people would be looking at, someone like a Sicily or a Stewart, or actually most people have Sicily, it's just me, but these guys are priced too expensive, so I'd be waiting on them. And then some of the other popular options like Doherty, Sinclair, Short, all have the first buy, so I'd be waiting on those until to upgrade once their buys have been done. All right, forward line. We've got some more underperformers here to talk about who had polar opposite games on the weekend in Cogs and Butters. So you had some people trading Cogs, some people trading Butters, and I'll tell you what, in a 1 week sample, those that traded Cogs did much better. Cogs is now 429k with 146 break even, and Butters 420k. That's pretty neat with the 91 break even. Boys, how are we feeling about these two? What are we doing with them this week? Eno, let's get us started. And cards on the table. Do you own one or both?
Got both. Still not overly impressed with both. Obviously, Cogs is really disappointing. Butters he scored 20, 30 points at a time, it felt like, in maybe 3 intervals, and then still didn't do much for the rest of the game. Just a bit of an easy kill on North, so it doesn't really fill you with more confidence. Not that it should anyway, but again, just totally depend on those DPPs. If we get all of them, these guys got to go, I think. As far as who I would turf first, I want another week of data with GWS before let's decide on that.
Cogs break even 146.
If you want to go this week, you go Cogs.
Are you happy to, if it fails, are you happy to take a price drop?
Yeah. I mean, I've got to do other things, but I honestly, if someone had to make the call, then yeah, I'd go Cogs. Yeah. I envisage that both of these guys will probably have to go at some point anyway. Just what I'm gathering with the DPPs and how they look to be not almost, but close to certainties with the percentages. So,
yeah. So I have both. I traded Lipinski. Damn it. So Cornelia, yeah, I don't know. Don't make trades in the last 10 minutes. So
I said you would after that video. I knew you would change. I knew it.
I wasn't settled all week. I kind of just kept putting it off. Anyway, so Cornelia, I watched him, and I thought I was watching 2021 Cogs. To be honest, he got a few CBAs early, and then he copped a really, really bad knock, like a knee.
It was a knee to the
something-
back. Yeah, I saw
Yeah,
that,
and he just like it dropped him. He wasn't in a good way, and then I didn't actually watch the rest of the game after that. After the third 3/4 time, but I looked at his score and it did not change. He got scaled up 2 points. So it was on like 35 at half time, finished on 35, and then got scaled 2 points. So CBAs were 23 again, but again, new coach coming in. Well, I think they still got Hopper to come back later in the year. I think they just keep him in this role, but I don't know for sure. Yeah, in the midfield, he was, I don't know, he was panicky, he was fumbly, he was not composed. His ability to actually get the ball at stoppage was okay, even though he didn't do it much. Like he looked okay getting it, but it was the disposal that was quite poor. But he's had a good year, he's had a good preseason. But which Cogs, like, is this what Cogs is now? Is he just not like a good midfielder? Because I think his first 2 games, he only scored, I think his average was 90 across 2 games when he had like the 50 plus CBAs. But I guess it's not really a big enough sample size. So I think I want out. I think he's probably like 90% trade if you have the trades to get him to the Dogs mids. It's just like a money management thing. If you're in a position where you can't get them, which most people should be able to at least get one, then it just kind of depends. If Cogs, I don't know, he might go like 85 to 90 for the rest of the year. Is that like okay with you? Probably not. It's a pretty big upgrade to Bont or Baz. So I'll probably cash him in this week. And then I just didn't really pass the eye test this week, but he's been okay the past few weeks, but I haven't really seen him much in the midfield. And if he's getting 20% CBAs, it's just not going to work. It's going to just be 85 to 90 average. So I'll probably cash him in, but I'm definitely not against holding because there's a new coach coming in and just very awkward timing of this. So are you planning to cash him in this week, JD?
So the problem I've always had with cashing in with Whitfield, Cogs, all these types, is that it hasn't let me get an extra premium in most weeks. And I think I'm still going to be in the same situation where I'd be trading them instead of like a day cost. So I guess the question is like, would you rather have Cogs and risk the upside versus the downside? Or like have someone like a day cost that has the better buy that might leak some cash as well. And so that's like always been the hard part for me to make a decision on. I've probably got this wrong over and over again. I should have just been trading the premiums rather than getting rid of my rookies, like weird world. But I think for the same reason I'd hang on to Whitfield is the same reason I'd probably hang on to Cogs, which is new coach, West Coast. Like there is a world where he gets 140 this week or 150 this week. I think it's a low risk. Like I'm not like, I think it's like, oh, maybe it's like 5% or less. And I even had like a 150 earlier this year, I think, when they beat up Gold Coast, I want to say it was.
Yep.
So it's definitely in him, especially if he gets put in the right role and all that type of stuff. But I can also see why people would trade him this week, especially if they've already got rid of a lot of the other rookies. So I guess like we're talking about Cogs and Butters here. The other option that has the same buy and also has the same DPP is Nick Martin, who's now at 396K. So similar price, only 30K difference between these three, with, I don't know, probably slightly better break even at 86. Would you trade Cogs and Butters over Nick Martin?
I would probably trade Cogs first. Butters and Nick
just
Martin.
For money reasons? Or would you think he's going to score better, score the worst of the three as well?
I don't know. It's hard to predict. It's just the fixture and the break even just make this call so hard.
Yeah. And the coach as well.
Exactly.
Like
so
if the coach didn't change, it was just like one good West Coast game. Like whatever, like I'll just take whatever point loss, but I'll save the money.
Selling Cogs a bit short. He's played pretty well. Like he has 2 poor
for the
games.
role he's had. He's
Correct.
been pretty good. Yeah. And until the last 2 weeks, he was probably still one of the better cash cows in the mid. In the forward line, right? Like he'd done his job for what you pay for the start. It's not like he was a failed pick or anything. But
if you're holding this week, are you planning to trade him at any point?
Yeah, I see your point here.
So like I guess the thing is with Cogs, Butters, and Martin in the forward line, I was planning on trading one of them before the bye. I was hoping it would be Nick Martin and Butters and Cogs would come good. And then if you get all these DPPs in the forward line, then you upgrade them later. Right? Like luxury upgrades towards the back end of the year, especially given that in their next 3 games, so GWS have West Coast, which is amazing, Brisbane, then the bye, and then North. So you've got 3 really good games coming up. So I was hoping that I'd be able to hold through that point. And then after that North game, Dogs are coming off the bye, Swans are coming off the bye. Trade them out then.
Yeah. I think what George is saying is like, let's say these DPPs come. Perfect world. We want all of these guys gone, don't we?
Yeah.
So if Cogs is going, eventually, why not get rid of him now before you lose more cash? That's what you're saying, isn't it, George?
If you're planning to get the Dogs mids in the forward line, get rid of him now.
Hmm.
I guess it's kind of maybe it depends who you.
For who?
Because
so
downgrade to Greg Clark and put Clark at mate. That's what I'm doing.
No, so Cogs is in your forward line though, right? So you're realistically, there's no last by forwards that are good options, and most people are already struggling for middle by forwards.
Yeah, what's it do to on field, George? I didn't actually watch your video, so
I will. So if you've got, I guess, like
Okay.
for those that have Connor McDonald in their midfield, or like they could swing them forward and upgrade Cogs to someone in the midfield, which would make sense. It suits their buy, but it's not like there's many good options to upgrade him to in the forward line either at the moment.
Yeah, what's F6, George? What did you do? What
Nick Martin, F6, Greg Clark, M8. You got 7 mids.
Yeah, because
So it works for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they're all on the forward line,
what do
you do?
I don't know.
I should be feeling third, mate, scoring bloody 70.
Yeah, I think maybe it's okay to hold. Like he's got it in him, and new coach and everything. It's just trying to maximize cash. So even though I just got about to lose like 80k, I'm gone in 2 weeks. Yeah, it's a hard one.
His break even will reset by the North game. So, like, if you're holding this week, you're holding through till then, and you're just hoping he has a decent score in there to sort of get back up. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay. So it sounds like, just to wrap it up, there's not an obvious trade or hold decision on Cogs. It comes down to team, trades plans, money, and basically who you could be swapping in for that position or who you'd be trading in, how it affects your buys. And team by team scenario, absolutely go for it if it works for you, but don't force it as a trade or a hold.
Yeah.
All right. Rookies, I must be missing things because it looks like there's some defender rookies we have as downgrade options this week for the first time since O'Driscoll in like round 4. Boys, talk me through them. We've got, let's start with Rory Thompson, the mature age Gold Coast defender, 123 or 124K. He's averaged, hasn't been great over the first 2 games, so just 44.5, negative 16 break even, plays the Dogs this week. Thoughts on him as a option to downgrade to?
So the point of getting a defender downgrade is I don't think we need their cash. Their job, maybe you do, but I don't. Their job is to play through the buys and hopefully cover for the rest of the year. I think Thompson can do that. So I was originally leaning to Karmas, but I have a feeling he goes out when Bruce comes back, who's listed last week was listed as 4 to 5 weeks. So you assume around 14 or 15 or something. Bruce comes back because they have the buy around 13. No point bringing him in before that. It'll be somewhere after round 13. And yeah, probably need a Karmas playing. So I think he'll hold his spot. I know we got Young Spice in the Discord. He's a Gold Coast supporter. Somehow they exist. And he said he's getting Thompson. So I think it's, hopefully you don't have to field him other than the first buy round. But decent job security, probably going to average 45-ish for the year. Again, like his dream team scoring is just atrocious, like 5 disposals and 7 disposals, but it's the 1%ers that spoils. I was reading Gold Coast Big Footy Board. They were saying like it really frees up Ballard having him in the team. They like think he's played really well. So I think Buku will outscore him though over the buys, which is the interesting thing, and that's like points that you need.
You
and
said it at
it's
the
like-
start. It's Thompson if you're just going to sit him at D8 and need him as emergency cover. If you envisage that you might need this player's cash, then you go Buku because he should be locked in for the next month playing games. Should score better, you would assume. Dogs do have some easy games. He's kicked 3 goals in the weekend. I don't see why he can still kick some more goals. Like, they have no targets, man. He's like their second forward 50 target.
I guess like they've got West Coast in 2 weeks, so maybe he fills his
not a big
boots.
score. Maybe he gets to 200 and something K, and you need to cash him. But if you don't need to cash them, then get Thompson.
It's pretty funny because like, isn't there a chance that Thompson plays on Karmas this weekend?
I guess so. Yeah.
Potentially, yeah.
Like that's the matchup. Like I guess the thing is, even though Thompson has scored worse over the first couple of games, he's been out of footy for a long time. So you'd imagine him playing AFL is going to take a little time to get up to speed. But like defender role is generally like pretty decent for Supercoach scoring, although in like Thompson's past, I think his career best years have been like, I don't know, mid-60s or something like that, and then hasn't really got that close since. But I mean, I think 55s is kind of what we'd expect for Thompson. Karmas as a forward, even in a good side, it's pretty hard to average that as a new forward into the line. So I don't know if Karmas is really that much better for cash generation unless he has a massive week. So I like the job security of Thompson.
Yep. So we're going Thompson. I think I'm going Thompson this week.
He's 4K cheaper if that helps too. All right, there's one option in the midfield this week, and it's the really obvious one for anyone that hasn't gotten him. The number 1 rookie for this week, and that is Greg the Leg Clark from West Coast, mature age midfielder, was in all our sides in the preseason, then got injured, but last couple of weeks he's been back and he's been good too. Anything negative to say about Greg, or is it just get him in and let's move on?
Get him the hell in. I think he had the second most or third most CBAs, so get him the hell in.
All right, awesome. And then there's a few players that debuted this week, so let's quickly chat about them and if any of them caught your eye for potential downgrades next week. In defense, we actually had 2 more pop up. So Cleary for the Dogs, who I think was probably the best performer for the week in terms of scoring. Did you like what you saw out of him?
Yeah, he was okay.
I mean,
had a few turnovers,
but when I did, he hit all his targets. So,
I am planning to get him next week. I don't know if he holds a spot or not, but I want to cash in De Koning while I can. I'm not sure like what defenders on the horizon, but I guess we'll wait and see on team sheets the next 2 weeks, and we can decide from there. But yeah, he's taken in the draft last year. He was overlooked in the draft before, so he's like a little bit older as well, which kind of helps. But he has a decent intercept game. Generally a good user of the ball, can find the ball a bit. I think average in the 60 somewhere in the VFL. It's a bit easier for scoring in defense from the VFL to translate into AFL than it is as a forward. Like, Rose is getting like 100s in VFL. It's not going to happen in AFL. So, yeah.
And then next we have Brody Kemp, who's a little bit more expensive, 157K. Scored a 56 on the weekend. Any love for Kemp?
I actually think he might hold his spot. I don't know what you think, George, but I think Lewis Young was health and safety protocols. I don't think Blues fans rate him much anyway. And look, Zach Williams isn't a like for like, but he's out for a long time, so he might hold his spot, but he's 157K, so that hurts a bit.
I'm not interested in paying 150K for a downgrade option who I'm not going to need their money afterward. So,
I mean, the interesting one here is like if you were to go for someone at that price, Cooper Hamilton this week's 157K. You'd rather get him, right? It's the same buy, and he plays a better role, and it looks like he's got better job security, right? So,
yeah, but Kemp's defender.
Yeah, it's true. But we've got other defender options. Like you don't need to wait for Kemp. Yeah.
No. Well, I think what helps with Kemp is the buy round. He plays through the middle buy, I guess, because all the other rookies are that middle buy. So
in
I guess
defense, yeah.
maybe you can have another look at him. I think he played defense this game, but I think there's a chance he swings forward to cover for Mackay. That's what he did in the preseason, but just didn't use him that way. But yeah, they trained all preseason in defense, so like third year in the system, so it might be okay. Worth another look. Prices just makes things horrible. If it was 123k, then we'll talk. But 150. I mean, then again, I paid 123 over 102 for Hamilton. So when you put it that way, it's doesn't sound as bad paying 150, but yeah.
And then lastly, Jesse Motlop, small forward for the Blues, debuted. So playing for Nick Martin, who, do you know how
Jack
long
Martin.
he's out for? Sorry, Jack Martin. Yep.
Not that long.
Inferior Martin, sorry. Yep.
Yep. No, I don't think we need to worry too much about Motlop. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a small forward anyway. We saw with Riolo this week, like, let's just avoid those best we can. I wouldn't be trading one of those in. Okay. That's pretty easy. It's actually, I guess, a little bit scary that there's no real downgrade options next week. For me, that says like waiting Whitfield and Cogs. And then if they still suck next week, fix them then. If there's no rookies, is probably like my preferred path, where we do have good downgrade options or better downgrade options this week. So, all right. Just before we get into the popular or the Q&A questions this week, I was just noticed earlier that one of the popular options for trades in this week was Dustin Martin. So 509k. Any love for Dusty? It's the same first buy. Like who's got the luxury of doing this? I guess people trading out Cogs or Butters or Nick Martin.
He's going to be more of a forward now, right? I know.
Dusty lovers that are trading him in are the big league players. They're the OGs that love him from yesteryear. You can't trade him in, man. No way.
He only had 37% CBAs on the weekend. Like okay, cool, easy.
Yep.
Asked and answered. All right. Here we go. Discord questions are always interesting. Sorry if I accidentally pick up some of the troll questions. Inevitably hard to filter those out. We've got an interesting assortment of characters that fill our Q&As each week. First up, it's just 2 words. And George, I think that's directed at you. Jackson Haitley.
Yeah, it's hard because I have to pick between Laird, Brayshaw, and Haitley as my last premium midfielder.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if it helps, Haitley is just 240k. That is,
have
a bit of change left over.
I have to spend about, it's going to take me about 4 hours to come up with all the receipts for the Haitley haters.
Yeah, he said this last night. George is looking for receipts because he played one good game out of 50.
George, you turned into a hater as well. You can't. You don't even have right to the receipts. You burned.
He
them.
had groin issues last year, and we used him as a tagger. And then we freed him up second half. Carlton played well, and then just Brisbane. I think it was 27, 29 touches. Good overhead marks up forward. Oh, I think we found the next Nat 5. But
yeah, it reminds me of a young Patrick Cripps.
I know we don't enforce fan footy because we've got our own footy scores, but he put it up, mate. Blue Moon. He put it right next to his name.
Blue Moon. Didn't he watch him at GWS 3 years ago? He put 3 of them in a row. Anyway. It's actually not the worst place. Just he's too expensive at this point of the year.
Yeah.
He'll hold his spot though.
Next question we've touched on a little bit, but let's just go for a yes or no. Is it all right to go early on Bont in anticipation of his DPP? Yes or no?
Yes, but let's wait for that article tomorrow. I think we need to wait.
Baz is a bit in front of Bont, I would imagine. Not sure. Yeah, let's wait for the article. It's hard to know.
I think Baz's scoring might be a touch better, but Bont's probably more likely to get the forward eligibility. So a little bit of trade-off there.
Baz's break-even's much lower.
Do we actually think that? Like, Bont is a guy that could just go and just, the 80% CBA is full-time midfielder, and it wouldn't surprise you, right? I guess he has to cover the forwards, but whereas Baz, I think he can stay half forward. He can come up, push up, and just do what he does.
The one thing I will say is, like, the Dogs have been struggling to get the right mix of, like, where their mids go. Like, they've played McRae out some weeks on the wing. They've played Bont in the forward. Like, Dunkley in the forward line as well. The week just gone is probably the best they've looked in about a month. So you would think with any normal coach that they would persist with that, right? I mean, I know this is
it's
Bevo,
just a list. I know we blame Bevo a lot, but the list is so unbalanced. I don't know. Half the salary cap is like probably 8 players in the midfield. So
yep, I actually agree. With you,
and it was a pretty easy kill on Collingwood. No offense, Collingwood supporters, but their midfield. apart from Chris, just got slaughtered the entire night. So, and yeah, Darcy Cameron couldn't even comprehensively beat Sweet. So, yeah, I'll wait and see what the mix is, because Bond did have one game of like 73% CBAs. I think it dropped a little bit this game, but yeah, it's just who knows what's going to happen going forward. I wouldn't go early. No, I think because he's currently 570, 580, so I don't think he'll go up too much more. It's hard to have such a massive ceiling.
You can grab it at a discount now, yeah.
Because Bez and Trelaw weren't getting this much mid-time last year. And even Libber as well at times. They're using Libber, like he's almost leading CBAs as well. So
isn't Trelaw sub 500?
Yeah.
Like he won't get
still disrespected. He's the one that he's already a forward as well.
Should we do a Dogs podcast?
Yeah. That's what preseason will be next year, honestly. So if you own Whitfield and Cogs, what would you do with them? I think we've already asked and answered. So play around with different permutations of trades all this week. And if trading them out gives you something super cracked and you love it, do it. If holding them seems to work better for the week and you want to risk it on the new coach and them playing West Coast, then that also seems reasonable. Zach Merritt, potential M8 post buy, could drop as low as 520k with good history. George, we're talking about Steele being the one we were eyeing off to finish our M8 position after coming off that first buy. Is Zach Merritt that someone could, replace as that downgrade option?
I actually think it's okay as your M8 because he had that poor game this week. He got concussed. No, he got a head knock or something, and he just wasn't the same.
Parker, right? Yeah,
something like that.
It was a hip and shoulder to the chin. It was row bottom. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, copped a week for it.
Sorry.
So the thing is, he's your upgrade target after the buy. He is the first buy. So if you're not getting him, then there's probably not much point because you get that extra points during that buy round. It went 115 2 years in a row, I think. I want to say maybe it was 110 and then 115.
It was 115 last year for sure, yeah. But he's been pretty consistent around that, just outside or just on the M8 kind of territory.
Yes, so for 500k, it's actually not the worst play. Well, I think low 500s, so it's okay if you can afford Laird and others. Mills, if you can somehow afford that, and probably just skip him. But if you're looking for a cheap M8, I would pick Merritt. I'm going to grab him in other formats as soon as his buy's finished because he'll be cheap. But this format, probably not. But I actually don't hate it. I'm actually half thinking about grabbing him at that price as your M8 if I end up paying up for Laird because I think he's probably in the M10 to M14 range. Mm-hmm. Parrish is definitely better, but he's going to be 100k more. So just depends on your budget. Yeah, so if he's in your budget, I guess, then yes. If not, then no point.
All right. Yeah, I must say don't hate it as an option. I mean, if he gets a couple hundreds the next 2 weeks, he probably bottoms out around low 500s just after his buy, which is you're going to be hard pressed to find anyone that's that cheap with that higher scoring ceiling coming off that first buy. So yeah, I think it's a really good shout. All right, is Darcy an option to trade in this week? Only Rucker can afford. Enno, this might be a question for you, mate. Very disappointing week after the highs of the one just gone.
Yeah, he is, but he's really going to drop in price unless he goes and smashes Darcy Cameron, which, to be honest, is a very high possibility because Witts did 2 weeks ago, and then Jordan Sweet was, probably on top of him as well. So yeah, and he hasn't played footy. So yes, but you could probably save yourself 40 to 50k if you wait. But if that doesn't matter, then I'm more than happy saying go this week.
I say go for it. I reckon Freya's going to bounce back big time. He'll smash Cameron this week. He'll get a bit of a rocket for getting beaten from Witts. I see a 140, 150 on the cards, honestly. Yeah. And then he's not going to lose much cash, and you missed out on a 150. So that's a huge score to project. But if you need a ruck and he's who you can afford, I'd still go for it.
Yeah, he has gone the week after, so a little bit annoying there. And then around his buy, his fixture is ridiculous. So maybe you can wait if you care about cash, but no problem getting him now. Yeah.
All right, next question uses the forbidden words. Is Laird a must-have?
Whoop, whoop.
That's the meme we got at Discord. We do the siren whenever someone says a must-have.
Yeah, it's the alert, the siren. It's like the most overused term. Is a must-have.
Well, I think start playing the siren because I think he is because he's top 4 mid. I think top 5 mid. I was saying before he went 120 plus after his bye. That's what he's doing now. There's more possessions up for grabs in that Crows midfield, unless of course Haley and Berry actually doing quite well. Haley's played one game, but Berry's actually been really good the past 3 games. So, did we say the fixture of the Crows? They play North twice, West Coast twice, and no Jack Still this week in St Kilda. So, Laird will always get the pill. Like, doesn't matter who. Good team, bad team. Priority is stat padding. So, yeah,
I think he does try to win games as well, but he does like
yes.
the leather.
I mean, he loves stats and he just gets them. So I'm underselling him, but no, he's good player, like really good. But he just at the same time.
Last 24 games, it's like 18 games, 30 plus, and then the others 25 to 30. Like he hasn't got under 25 in the season, so he always gets a pill.
Yep.
So I wouldn't say must have, but very, very good option. And I would probably have him as a top 8. So, yep. All right. Mitch Duncan's role and scoring potential. I guess a little bit of a victim of having that middle buy as well. But just quickly on this, it feels like DeGoey by a different name almost. He's been inconsistent. He's had injury history. Yes, that role and scoring is good. But like, even though he's 433K, which is ultra cheap, the buy is bad. And you're going to be getting better people than him in that buy. George, correct me if I'm wrong here. Can either of you see him bouncing back and averaging 110 from here to finish the year?
110, no.
100?
I don't care. I'm not getting him.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's his role going to be going forward? Are they going to play more behind the ball? Because
you don't know. Man. It can change. It's changed 3 times this year. So.
Yep. Yeah, too much durability risk next.
Enough better options. All right, go for an expensive premium like Laird with a worse buy, or go for value like Brayshaw with a better buy. I think the theme so far has been buy is going to be better. Value and buy is probably.
I hate this because I went Guthrie over Bont last year because of the buy round, and it destroyed my entire season.
Yeah, but you went Guthrie. That's the problem.
Points.
You went Guthrie though.
Got injured the moment I brought him in.
What's the average in this year?
In
like
hindsight, yeah, I don't know.
Like how much does
stuff your buy? Go for Laird.
Not stuff it to where you have 16 players. Like no, but yeah, like don't get him in. Don't get Laird in over Brayshaw if you're gonna have bloody 16 playing in the middle buy because. Who cares what they average? Even if it's 20 points more, you've done yourself out for how many points in that middle by not fielding a player. So, yeah, look at your team properly.
I think just the other thing depends on your trade situation. So if you go Brayshaw, you can always side swap Brayshaw to Laird. Then during that last buy, if you're still going to have trades left over, you kind of get the best of both worlds. So look at that as an option. But yeah, I'd probably lean Brayshaw. I don't think the gap is big enough that you risk your buy for it, especially with the value as well. Like it's 130K or something, or 100K. It's not negligible. All right, Sinclair, Doc, or Stewart for last defender. So for me, I'd probably rank them Stewart, Doc, Sinclair. Do either of you have a different order?
Nope. I don't,
Doc,
actually.
Stewart, Sinclair.
Yep, I thought we might hear Doherty one, and I think that's perfectly valid as well. All right.
He cost them the game on the weekend. He was terrible.
Who cares, mate? We play fantasy. We don't play win.
Whatever.
Sicily, so basically he's asking, do I trade in Sicily, who'd definitely be a top 6, versus Brayshaw, who might not be a top 8?
Another guy that cost him the game. Anyway.
Sicily?
Yeah, Sis. Give me Sis.
George, Sicily, Brayshaw?
LeBron James Sicily for me.
Yeah. And I mean, I've been getting spanked by Sicily all year, so don't listen to me because I probably still wouldn't pick him. All right, upgrade to Primos if possible versus waiting till Primos had their bye, even if you can upgrade. So I guess this, in a world where Steele wasn't injured, right? would you trade in Steele this week versus waiting until after he had his bye?
Well, I guess it's
Assume the price stays the same.
okay. So say your rookie on field scoring 70, and the primo you get in is like 115.
So 45 points a week for the next 2 or 3 weeks.
2 weeks, 90 points ahead. And then that rookie will probably score like 70 in the first buy round. So I think if you do the maths, I think it's better to just do the upgrade now.
Yeah, I'm not against it.
So you get 90 points extra by going the premium for 2 weeks. Otherwise, you would get the 70 points in the buy round.
In the buy anyway.
So you lose like 20 points. That's just like...
Wait, hold on. But like, so there's 2 things there. So then you get the 70 points back on the buy. So it's only 25 points. But then you also miss out on the opportunity cost this week of not doing a different trade that doesn't affect you like that.
Well, if you're not upgrading, what else are you doing? Just downgrade, I guess.
Yeah. So like continue to upgrade. But I guess like, I don't know.
Okay, but just like write it down, like work it out on paper. Like if you're not doing an upgrade, what else are you doing? And how does that net you points in the buy round? So I don't know.
Yeah, so I guess if the question is, should I still be upgrading now or waiting until buys? Continue upgrading for now. But I probably wouldn't trade in players on the first buy because they're the ones you want to trade in during the middle and last buys. And then also don't upgrade to players now that like seriously negatively affect your buys. I probably wouldn't do that either. Because you should just be finding for other questions. What to do with Cogs? Already answered. All right, is there any merit in holding Dacos until his buy? Like I'd say yes, he's going to bleed cash, but obviously we've been talking about that helps your buys. So if you can upgrade,
break even. Let me have a look.
If you can upgrade without like having to trade him,
he's 75 break even. I think he's fine to hold. Yeah, on the broadcast they said he's going to play forward, and then he played back all game. So
yeah, I guess Pendles was out and Fly didn't really want to give up anything, but probably
same score 65 to 75. Possibly
do whatever you like. I'm upgrading, so he's gone. Yeah, we've got a defender rookie on the bubble, so I'm taking the chance before we might have none.
If you can do good trades and hold him, then he's fine to hold just because his buy is so nice. But yeah, like just be careful that they play through and he might get parked forward and he could drop like a 40. Like that's on the cards, and then you have to trade him next week anyway. Basil Bont. George?
I say Baz.
I don't know. Marcus.
Baz, because if he gets a forward, it's stonks and you got him cheap. But Bont, because if maybe whatever happens and he doesn't, it's not as bad because he's still going to be averaging very well to be a midfielder.
If you factor in price, I'd say Baz if you factor in price. I know what you mean, Eno.
Yep.
Like if it goes pear-shaped and they keep mid-status, you'd rather have Bont, right?
Okay, so say it's round 14, and you can bring one of them in. Forget price. Who do you want in your team? Sorry?
They have forward.
No, they both have forward status. Do you go Marcus or do you go Baz?
Oh, you want Marcus.
Yeah, you want Marcus.
Last year was when is Marcus going to drop the whole entire year, and he never did. He did when the teams were done.
Well, until he did his shoulder, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say Baz. Right now, this round. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So trade underperforming primos like Whitfield or Cogs out, or rookies out first? Which I guess we kind of already talked about. Like, would you rather trade Cogs or Nick Barton this week?
If you're planning on trading Cogs anyway, then Cogs.
Yeah, exactly. If you're definitely trading Cogs this week or next, then probably just trading because of the money. All right.
As long as you're upgrading.
Here we go. Here's one. Baslenka versus Ollie Wines.
I've seen people bring him in. I think it's like a lot of top teams have Ollie Wines because he was sub 5, was he, or 5?
He was like under 520 last week, and then he's dropped to 155. So,
man,
he's got a 59 break even, which is very nice.
I don't know if I want Wines. I'd rather Merritt. Oh, I don't know. Is Wines? He played North. He hasn't been scoring that super well apart from this week against North. I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably take Baz in the forward line.
Yeah, I'd take Baz with the risk. Yeah.
He has 2 scores above 110 this year, Wines.
Yep. One
was against North. The other was against the Crows.
Yep. I'm on board with this. I think Bailey Smith's where to go. Can
Career
Brayshaw
best
be
last year, and he averaged 112. Baz is averaging that now.
Yeah.
so? Can Brayshaw be top 8 from here? I think the answer is yes, but probably none of us have him as like a predicted top 8.
Inside of it, yeah.
Yeah,
I think I have him
So he
M13.
Yeah. So he could be, but it's probably like not where on average where we'd expect him to finish from here. Is Zach Merritt an option? Talked about, yep. Could be Cogs or Nick Martin out. Or
Cogs
asked and
for
answered,
George,
so it just depends
and
on your
probably
situation.
August.
How is Laird? Laird is good. Is it worth trading in Heaney if you don't have him?
I don't think
No?
so. No.
He's going to drop in a bit more on price probably. So
He's
I just don't think it
498k
is.
with a
I think you
126
wait for round 14. If he's all you can afford, then you can go for him. Otherwise, don't bother. You got the Dogs mids right there.
Mm-hmm.
Is one of Eno's boys, Sammy Walsh, had a really
Yeah.
nice game on the weekend. Is he an option? So 602k, 116 break even against the Swans this week, averaging 115 for the year after pumping out a 149 on the weekend.
He's an option. I just don't think he's the best one or close to it. Really annoyingly, because he was that bloody alpha dog last year, and now he's like bloody fourth banana. So, yeah. I think he's still nursing the ankle, to be honest, and he's playing just a bit more forward. But he's still that insane. He can have games like he did on the weekend. So, he's an option. Yes, that's the question. So yes,
for me, not really. Like at his price and his role, I just don't think he gets close enough to it. As much as I love Sammy Walsh, I wouldn't.
I would still take Walsh over Brayshaw.
They're interesting.
Even though they're like
50K?
with the price difference, yeah, 40, 50k. Wow.
Oh, okay.
After the buy though, not now.
Yeah, like Walsh is another one where you can kind of wait until after his first buy.
CBAs were like 20 this week. They've been
Yeah.
like 50 in previous weeks.
He's been coming off the half forward flank, so, kind of like Baz. Just
Yeah.
pushing up stoppage.
Maybe that's the like big name that they're talking about that could be eligible. Can you imagine you got Walsh as well?
Sammy Walsh forward status.
Buko or Thompson, I think we're all kind of landed slightly towards the Thompson side at the moment.
Yeah.
And then the last one I can see here is Sinclair as an option, but once again it comes the same answer, which is wait until after his buy.
Yep.
All right, I think we got through all the questions. A lot of good ones in there, but a lot of similar themes. So I think to wrap up, we should probably quickly go through vice captain this week, and then maybe just do we want to
What we're
talk
thinking
through
of doing.
what we're thinking for trades? Yeah.
Yeah. We got the Dogs against Gold Coast at Mars. So McRae's record, I think, at venue and versus the team are pretty good. I'm not really always an advocate for those kinds of stats, but Dogs seem to be playing early, so he plays the third game of the week. Or you got Cripper on Friday night as well. I mean, the big thing is, do we have a loophole? Because if I do my trade, I don't. But maybe we get one, yeah.
So if you didn't have a loophole and you had to captain one player this week, is
Who
it
would it
Neil
be?
against Hawthorne?
That's who I had it on.
Sam Mitchell likes to put time into some players sometimes.
Well,
Like,
surely
he
that's
gave attention to,
Petrarca
like-
after the week just came off.
Yeah.
No, it's Hawthorne versus Brisbane.
Oh, sorry. Oh, geez. I'm like,
Yeah.
where's my head at?
D's got North,
yeah,
though.
Neil. Yeah, sorry. I'm like looking at D's as the other option with them playing North. Yeah.
Well, they are. Yeah, they are for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
I think
so
straight
like,
captain a D because it's safest, I guess. But
I mean, that's what I did last week with
I know.
flipping for the
Yeah,
loophole
I
and
know.
Oliver.
I know.
Yeah, I picked the wrong one there.
I
At least it
I'd
wasn't gone.
Just go McRae.
As a straight
Just,
C, if you had to.
His CBAs are like in the 60s. It's
Yeah.
a bit annoying.
So
We might just get like a 115 again.
But he straight seed him 2 weeks ago, mate, and he didn't. He scored 90.
How do we feel about some of the ruck options this week?
No, I don't want to go there.
Straight C, Sean Darcy.
Yeah, that's worked for you in the past. Or like Wits in against Sweet if English doesn't get up.
That's a VC.
I actually
if you want.
think Wits is like the safest VC here, or C. As stupid as it sounds.
Mate, he
It's hard to
dominates the
trust
hit
the-
outs. He does.
You
But
go
the
through,
mids,
like-
though, the mid battle,
yeah.
like you think the dogs
Yeah.
might shark a few.
Yeah.
Steals the 5 pointers. Yeah,
Probably
I think
go Cripps into
Steeds.
McRae.
That's not bad. Got to get the loop though.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, he'll be looking at bringing in this week. You set on Laird, George?
Well, I have to pick between Brayshaw and Laird. We've been over this, and I'm not. I am
80K
so
better
sick
buy
of
or
picking players because of their buy. Just get me the player, and I'll tank 80 points in the buy. Whatever, 100 points, fine. Get me the player I want. I don't want Brayshaw. He got calf issue last year. Remember that?
Dr. Jordan, he's back.
He had his calf strapped at training 3 weeks
Yeah,
ago.
I know.
And Fremantle health and safety issues.
You got Dickie Knee Petrarca in still though, and Dickie Knee gone. You got the dude Dickie Knees.
Yeah. The trifecta, the triumvirate of knees.
Should get a hat instead of Top Gun. I should say hypocrisy. I don't know. Who are you guys bringing in? Eno?
It's the two duos. It's either I can do Mills and Brayshaw, or I can do Laird and Petrarca, or I can do like
those are huge.
or I can
innings.
do Petrarca and Baz and bank 130k as well. You know what I mean? Like plenty of
Yep.
options.
How are you getting to them?
So I have 200 and something in the bank already, and then
Yep.
Steele's got to go, and
Yep.
then Dacos. I'm just doing that with
Nice.
while getting rid of Owens, who's a dead rookie anyway. So
Yeah, perfect.
like fixing that issue, it's Dacos has got to go because of it, but Steele's got to go anyway. So
And George, who are you looking at for trades? Who trading out? I mean,
I got a forward roulette again. I got this one wrong last week, so I think Cogs just because to cash him out. Could go Nick Martin. So part of me wants to hold. The only reason why I'm trading Cogs is break even. If his break even was 100, he would be held. Cogs out, and I still got Noddy, so he can go for Rory Thompson.
easy. All right, and I'm currently looking at Dacos, McDonald, and Dill Stevens out. So getting rid of like Dill Stevens in a dead rookie, and Dacos is probably near the max. But I could see myself wanting to hold both Dacos and McDonald because of the last buy. And then ends of Rory Thompson and Greg Clark as the two rookies, and then probably Bailey Smith over Brayshaw at the moment, taking the risk that he gets the eligibility. With Neil, Oliver, and Petrarca already in my midfield, probably want to avoid that last buy. Get an extra premium there as well.
yeah, I am leaning towards that with you, JD. But yeah, we'll read that article tomorrow. Hey.
Yeah,
Yep.
we'll see what the percentages are at, and basically what we'll try and do, and maybe we'll tweet this out from Fantasy Take, is figure out what percent forward he needs over the next 2 games, roughly, to get there. And if it's, I don't know, say as long as he's more than 20% forward, I feel like that's pretty safe over what we've seen in the last month or two. I'd be surprised if there's any games that had less than that. So, yeah.
Yeah, because like it's over 9 games, so 2 games won't affect it as much as like.
Correct. Yeah, you got to wait it. You got to wait it. So we'll do some back of the envelope, and if that's looking like a safe gambit, then I mean Bailey Smith's already fun to watch. Dog's already fun to watch. Just it actually hurts seeing him get touches off the end of McRae or whatever, and not being able to enjoy them like some refined Baslenka owners out there can.
He only just turned 21 to start this year, man. Crazy.
Yeah, he's got a big future ahead of him. All right, well, that has been the Fantasy Take TV podcast for the week. Lots of ground has been covered. Closing words and final thoughts, George.
I have a dead leg. I've been sitting on it, and I can't move it. So I'm just going to wait this one out. That's all from me.
Riveting podcast material, mate. Thank you, as always, for chipping in. And Eno.
All my Shrek lovers will be back on board this week, don't you worry. And the mask will be here, and we'll enjoy the 180.
And for those that have been tuning in for some PMA, the power of positive thinking got Leon Cameron out last week. Now we're bringing it to the fantasy team. Top gun. We're going to be the top fantasy gun this week. Just wait and see. All right. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you in the next one.